Hello, Roger. Okay, folks, car on the line. Here we are. Lunch break over. And it's the short batch 1, number 719 is on the line.
And that's David Garnett in the Renault Clio Cup, starting the meeting off as so often he does. Sharing the car with Ian Richards, who's currently third in class, which is led by Dave West. Now we've got John Watson in the Lotus Elise 111R, also running in class A1, the 2-litre road-going production cars. Just 2 cars in this first batch.
Here's David Garnett now, anchoring up for Triangle and getting away from it. Disappearing from sight up at Keeper's Bend. Exit of Keepers, of course. So call going out for batch 2. In the paddock.
David Garnett through fallow.
Here's John Watson.
Through Museum. And on the run to the line, through the finish, 68.27. That takes him up into 4th place. John Watson in the Lotus Elise, using all the track on the exit of Fallow up into Museum Bend. Did a 74.21 on his first run. And John, good improvement, 70.02. And that takes him all the way up into 6th. And that will be the end of this little mini batch of 2 cars.
So at the end of this next batch, we'll know what the positions are in classes A1 and A2. Steve said David Garnett pulled himself up to 4th place. The track appears to be speeding up a little bit now. After that nasty wet session, I can see a few small dry patches, a few damp as well, of course. Particularly as they break down into Triangle Bend, so that needs a bit more breeze on it. With the sunshine on it would help too. So the Loton Park shop is open for the last time this season. You can buy yourself some Hagley and District or Loton Park clothing. You'll see those described towards the rear of our programme. And we don't have them available commercially on the website just at the moment, but I understand that is going to happen sometime fairly soon. So on page 29 of your programme you'll find a little bit of information about that. There's some of the small items usually on display, badges, key rings, some model cars, Loton Park pens. An updated t-shirt design this year. And away from the start line goes Rob Morgan, car number 16. Rob's currently sitting in 5th position in the class, having been displaced by David Garnett. Now. chance for a little bit of revenge. In the nicest possible way, of course. This Peugeot 205 pretty much untouched. It's just about showroom condition, isn't it? In later classes they're quite heavily modified usually.
Rhys Jones already on his way with the Mazda MX-5. It's coming to the line now. Dave Warner in the Renault Clio R27, car number 18.
Yeah, here's Rhys Jones.
Rob Morgan through fallow. Up into Museum.
Dave Warner away.
68.98 on his first run. And through the finish, 67.52. And that moves him into third.
Dave Warner now professes to be very pleased with this particular Clio, and he's improving his performances throughout the season wherever he goes.
Thanks to tail out coming out of fallow.
Massive understeer for Dave.
Yeah, I think he's
Warner through triangle.
Probably about half a second there somehow. Not going to be happy with that bit.
Rhys Jones only a marginal improvement to 71.05.
Yeah, doesn't move him up in any way. Now here's
Dave Warner up into Museum Bend with the Renault Clio R27.
Class leader Dave West coming up towards
Dave
you.
Warner 67.15.
Moves up to third place overall. Here comes one of the men most likely to, and that's Richard Brandt.
Dave West up into Museum, class leader at the moment on a 66.06. And he's going to improve massively on that time with a 63.2.
Richard Brandt telling us that he'd like to have a go in a Cooper V twin like his dad Barry used to drive.
So Richard Brandt into fallow now with the Renault Clio. Time to beat 63.2.
Needs to get over 3
The
seconds
track is
out
a
of
lot
it, that run.
less slippery than it was earlier. Richard charging over the finish. 64.52 for Richard Brandt. Goes second.
But David West sitting at the top, so a guy who's probably double the age of some of the other competitors, still winning the class after, I don't know, about 40-something years. Now here's Tony Adams in the elite.
Ian Richards up into Museum Bend. He was lying in third place, then pushed down the order somewhat, and charging towards the finish, and a 65.92, and that takes him back up into third spot.
Well, just look out for Tony Adams because he's quite capable of doing really well in this Lotus. Next season he should be out in his recently acquired Radical in a different class altogether in Libra.
Tony Adams out of Museum on the run to the finish, and Tony 66.3. He goes into fourth.
Yeah, here we go. You've got Andrew Collins in the Audi TT. And here's Richard York in the Porsche. Bit slow on the gas.
Out of Museum Bend in the Audi TT. Was lying fourth place. And a 65.33 takes him up one slot into third.
Here's Bob Penrose, as we told you earlier, former single-seater driver. These days local councillor in South Wales, in his local area. Oh, and the understeers
here with the BMW Mini Cooper S, the 1.6 supercharged engine whining away under the bonnet. And Bob over the finishing line, 71.7.
Peter Herbert, the North Yorkshire driver, and the Porsche, his road-going Porsche coming towards us now.
Ross McDonald in this glorious Porsche 911 SCRS. Did a 71.03 on his first run, going to make a massive inroads into that time with a 67.42.
Then we will have class leader John Maycock in the turbo-kitted Mazda MX-5, locks the right-hand front coming down into triangle.
Peter Herbert now heading for Museum in the Porsche 911. Was lying in 6th place on 68.1. But he's finding a nice improvement there to 66.45.
Now, number 32,
John
Simon
Maycock hangs the tail out as he comes out of Fallow up into Museum Bend, leading the class, and he suddenly slowed on the exit, and I think that might be a turbo problem. Going very slowly towards the finish, and it's a 70.59 for John Maycock.
Not good for him, and here's Rick Leddy, quick at our normal B meeting
here. Into and out of Museum Bend. The 68.3 on his first run, and it's a 64.49.
And if,
up to third.
If Rick Leddy can drag 0.04 out of his earlier time, he can take this class. Here's
Rick Leddy with the TT Audi was in second on 63.56, and he swoops into the lead with a 60.07.
Now just Sean Tom's on his way towards you, Steve. Got one last chance
Sean
to
Tom
do something.
punching the tyres at Fallow into Museum Bend.
Now here is John Pick in the AMS Messiah kit car.
And Sean Tom, 63.29, split into second place.
And Tim Higgins away from the start. Coming up to the line now is Paul Drowne, number 757. Slithered off this morning, straight back into the paddock. See if he can do a little bit better this afternoon. Here's Tim Higgins now.
John Pick in the AMS Messiah, the Impreza-based kit car.
Tim Higgins had to haul it round.
Towards the finish, and stops the clock, 62.34.
Yeah, Tim Higgins' car didn't want to turn right out of Triangle Bend. Friday wanted to steer him off to the outside of the track. Now here's Paul Drowne. He's travelling quickly. Oh, and he's yeah, almost got it wrong.
Tim Higgins up into Museum.
Massive understeer for Paul Drowne on the exit of Triangle.
Tim closes the gap with a 64.41.
Move on to this Class B. Class C1.
Into and out of Fallow, Paul Drowne failed to trouble the scorers on his first run. He's now charging up the hill. Class record holder in C2. And over the finish, 59.44. From 0 to hero, he leads the class.
Wham, all in one go. And now Andy Fraser in the Aston Martin Vantage, to be followed by Laura Wardle in the Porsche, the shared Porsche. Sitting on the start line is 766.
Jason Tunnicliffe with Peugeot 205, which he shares with Tom Reeves. They also run
Andy Fraser out of Museum with the Aston Martin Vantage, and improves with the 64.7.
So Jason Tunnicliffe still sitting on the line, because here comes Laura Wardle going slowly, and she's going straight back into the paddock. That's a disappointment. And this is going to be a failed run for Laura Wardle. Let's hope that doesn't, I hope it's very quickly fixed. She was 39 seconds to loggerheads instead of the sort of middle of the road 17 and a half, 18 seconds. So something's gone wrong back there. Log edge speed was only 33. So here's Jason Tunnicliffe, rockets away from the start line. They run in the over 2 litre modified series reduction car class because the engine's quite a little bit over 2 litres. Here's Jason now. Now the Empire Evo they've got is the one that Hannah Wiltshire had, isn't it? I'm sure.
That is the one, is it? Yes.
Yeah.
It's now blue.
Yeah.
They ran it at Gersten earlier this year on one occasion. Oh, that's the only time I've seen it.
We appear to have looks like an insect wing over the start line
Jason
camera.
Tunnicliffe heading towards Museum in the slightly oversized engined Peugeot 205. And Jason through the finish 61.27. And that slots him into 3rd place in the class.
Now he pulled that one back.
And that is the end of the batch.
Right, let's go and have a look at some class positions. So, in the road going series production over 2 litres, up to 2 litres, that's A1. And the 3 positions there are that 3rd place goes to Ian Richards with a 65.92 on his second run. In fact, all these are on their second runs. And 2nd place, Richard Brandt, 64.52, car number 22. And number 21, Dave West, still winning after all these years, 63.2. A2, the road going series production over 2 litres. And John Maycock, well, he did a 63.51 on his first run before that just about spoiled run. And Sean Toms drew himself up to 2nd place with a 63.29 on his second class run just now. And Rick Leddy, as he usually does at our B licence meetings, he wins the Class Heroes and A licence meeting in the Audi TT Black Edition, 60.07. So the only one to get down very, very close to 60 in that class. Road going specialist production cars, just the 2 in there. Tim Higgins did a 64.41 first thing this morning. Sorry, just this afternoon after a very slow 72.35 earlier. But John Pitt came back this afternoon and improved to a 62.34 to take the win. I don't think there's an award for that. And yeah, we haven't seen anybody in C1 or enough cars in C2 to do anything other than tell you that, well, Paul Drowne came from 0 to hero all in one hit after that fail this morning in those awful damp conditions this afternoon. He gets sub 60, so bodes well for some of the other competitors there, and it looks like we're going to see an exciting conclusion to C2. And of course, at the moment, only the one potential qualifier for our British runoff. That's Peter Herbert, who really does just register for the British because he likes to go to Northern Ireland to Craig Amplet, the hill that's only used for about 9 hours a year, and he knows that if there's a short number of qualifiers, that he may well get in with a point. And some years up to 20 competitors go, and he does get upset.
John Maycock will be the last car down the hill. He's coasting down to the paddock.
Cheers, Steve.
Hopefully he'll be able to get that fixed because he does drive the car to and from events.
Well, it may well be a factory kit, I think. We've got something over the start line camera then. I believe it's some sort of 6-legged creature with big wings.
Yes, I was just going to say, somebody could just check that. It could be. There's a spider's web which we can't see because it would be out of focus, but we're continually getting the view obscured by
something or
something crawling.
It's moving around.
It's moving around.
It's gone now.
It's been coming and going.
A few years ago, when we first had the old start line camera, Jerry, you never saw it. They used to hang, the timekeepers had a stick with a sort of feather on a string that they used to dangle. If you got a face drawn on it, it's a six-legged
some sort of
gremlin.
insect. Yes.
Yeah.
If somebody is aware where the start line camera is,
wasp.
they could. Oh, there's a wasp there. Yes.
You can see its legs and everything now. We've got a close-up of its backside. Thank you, Mr. Wasp. It's going clear off. They really are the most persistent, annoying things. Having had 2 wasp nests in my roof, one at the front, one at the back, some years ago, I know just how unpleasant the darn things are.
Yes, they're coming back now. We've had a couple in the commentary box already.
Oh, I saw them off, with my bare hands.
Well, yes. Single-handed, you saw them off.
I'm a nutter. I don't... insect stings don't affect me. Bites do.
I'll tell you what, nip over to the start line and see this one off.
Yeah, I'll go and give it a punch up the bracket, shall I? To quote Harold Steptoe, I think it was, all those years ago. Right, we've got number 4.
Sid Jones, actually.
Yeah, 40, okay, yeah. Number 4, well, my dad told me about it again.
Yeah.
Number 45 on the start line, this is the Opel Tigra of Ian Sargent. Yeah, it is a pretty rare car, and I was mistaken when I said I thought these were only sold as Opels. I've been corrected by a good friend who actually went to the launch of the Vauxhall in this body style. So I think we can say he knows his stuff. Yeah. So here's Ian Sargent.
Ian Sargent, who also used to drive a rare single-seater Harrison on the hills. Only 3 people had one of those, as far as I know. There was Ian Sargent, Alan Cox, and myself.
Yeah. Oh, Alan Cox. He's still going with that. One of those championships, isn't it?
No, Alan Cox retired
many
moons ago.
He used to get cameras. Oh, he used to get his camera out quite often, didn't he? Right, the Tigra. Up on the grass. And that was an agricultural moment from Ian Sargent, but he is all right. And he keeps on going, but he will have lost about a second. Andy Russell away from the start in the Ginetta with its Hartwell imp engine in the back. 39 years a hill climber and 36 now in this car, would you believe? I don't think even he can remember what he drove before.
Ian Sargent now in the Opel Tigra, quite a rare car in speed events, heading towards the top of the hill. And Ian through the finish, 74.11, remains in 5th place.
Now here's Gavin Neat. Almost tried a straight line Fletcher's Della. The only reason he couldn't is because he's got to avoid a time penalty from knocking one of those flip-flops
Russell down. In the little Ginetta G15 into and out of museum. 4th at the moment, and 64.01 doesn't see him climb any further than 3rd.
Oh, here goes Brad Drowne off onto the grass on the outside.
Currently 2nd in the class in the little Peugeot 106.
Brad Drowne
charges to the line, and through the finish, 61.62 goes into the lead.
Brad Drowne didn't slow up at all as he went off onto the grass exit of Fletcher's Della on that downhill straight. He just kept it pinned all the way through.
Brad Drowne in the Citroen AX up into museum was leading the class on a 62.78, and through the finish 61.16 slips back into the lead.
Yeah, it was spectacular as well, believe me. If you're watching it on telly around the world, I'm sure if you could see that view you would have been gasping. Now here comes Paul Meadows in another of these Renault Clios.
Eric Moray into and out of museum. 65.07 on his first run. And Eric through the finish. 61.34 and slips into 2nd behind Brad Drowne.
And these Renault Clios have supplanted and replaced the Peugeot 106 and 205 as the starter car for
Full Meadows
still climbing.
to Museum with the Renault Clio. And Paul through the finish, 64.94, slots into third place.
Now here's Martin in fourth, and he almost goes straight on it. Triangle bend, he's pulled it back. So some of them pushing it is still very, very slippy.
Mark Honey into Museum with the 205.
Steve Bailey.
And Mark improves to 66.67.
You know, if the track was dry, you can normally rely on Steve Bailey to drift the car around the bends. I think it might just be that little bit
Mark
too
Linford
slippery.
in the Fiesta.
You can
For the finish, 62 dead.
You can see
And
Steve
that
Bailey.
takes him into second place in the class.
You can see Steve Bailey set it up as if he's about to do a Scandinavian flip. You can see the car squirming about as he brakes. Now here's Darren Balster. The car that was Peugeot that was built originally on a left-hand drive sub for Red Phillips.
Reilly now into Museum with the Ford Escort Mark 1. Was in second place. And a 60.98 takes him into the lead.
Steve Bailey never to be subdued here at Loton. This is his home hill. Oh, now here comes Colin Satchell. He'll be quick. Darren Balster, the disappointing
Darren Balster
time.
going a lot quicker than he did earlier in the day. Charging towards the finish. And he's to the finish in 59.61. And from dead last in the class, he now leads.
Second place to Paul Drowne, actually.
Colin Satchell up into Museum Bend was leading the class with a 61.39. Over the finish, 58.83 and goes back into the lead.
Well, that solves that one, doesn't it? And yeah, it's a...
We do have another runner yet though, Eddie, the Ford Escort of Carl Stevens.
Of course, yeah, the change, class change. Doesn't show here.
He's on the line now.
Tim
So the
Painter,
top team-
meanwhile, in the Aston Martin Vantage.
Oh, Jonathan Williamson in the Porsche here. So what happened to Laura Wardle must have been a bit of a moment
That
for her
sounds
further
wonderful
back.
as it blasts towards the finish. And Tim Painter, 64.14.
On the line is Tom Reeves. And here's Carl Stevens now. Tyres for testing. Tyre under control though.
Jonathan Williamson with the Porsche 911 Carrera heads to the finish, and it's only a small improvement, 64. In fact, it's slightly slower, 64.68.
Here's Tom Reeves, and he's going to go back to the
Now we've got
pattern.
the last of the 2 litres. Carl Stevens in this change of car, the Escort Mark II. Carl over the finish, 61.34.
Round of applause for Tom Reeves from the Marshals. He managed to avoid the cones, braked heavily, locked them up, and he's just gone straight back to the paddock. Repeat performance of Paul Drowne this morning, of course. So Charles Stevens back in 4th place now in that 5th place in Class C2, so out of the scoring positions. Nigel
Elliott now off into Museum, the TR78. And through the finish, 63.11.
Mike Turpin away from the start line, 5 times Midland champ. Paul Howes up with Steve, here's Mike Turpin now.
Paul Howes in the Porsche 911 RSR was leading the class after the first run. still leads with a 60.48. It's now 57.39.
Graham Manton away from the start line in the family Fisher Fury. And on the start line now is Joy Hoyle in the Westfield.
All down to Mike Turpin now for Class C3. Time to beat 57.39, just set by Paul Howell. What can the Vauxhall driver do? It's a 58.26, only good enough for second.
So Paul Howell has it. Jason Tunica third. Carl Stevens.
Graham Manton into and out of Museum. Fury Z-Tech, and he's through the finish. 64.42. Moves up to 6th.
Well, flags are out at the start line, so that's the end of a batch.
Joy Hoyle now into and out of Fallow with the 1.3 litre supercharged Suzuki Hayabusa engine in the Westfield, sharing the car with Ash Mason, and Joy through the finish 62.35, and that takes her up into 4th place. And that is the end of the batch.
And those class positions will be sorted out at the end of by the end of the next batch. So let's have a look at Class B. Just the 2 runners in this class. So Tim Higgins a 64.41 this afternoon, and John Pick a 62.34 this afternoon to take the class, but we believe no award. Class C1 now resolved in the favour of Brad Drowne. After that, well, he absolutely kept it pinned as he came down the hill from Fletcher's Dello. It's very, very spectacular. Hope the cameras did pick that up. So the 3-2-1 there is the regular Harewood competitor Gavin Neat, number 47, is third with a 61.62. Second place, Eric Murray in the Hartwell Imp Turbo, 61.34. He's for number 49, 61.34 his time. Number 48, Brad Drowne, taking the win, 61.16 in a spectacular way. C2. Modified series production cars, over 1400 and up to 2 litres. The 3-2-1 there is that Darren Balster came right through. At the end, 59.61 raised him from stone last up to third. Paul Drowne, 1 completed run, 59.44. But he couldn't quite catch his car share partner, Colin Satchell, number 57, who chimed in with a 58.83 just now. And C3, the modified series production cars over 2 litres. Jason Tunnicliffe, third place, 61.27. These 3 times are this afternoon's. The 766, number 69, Mike Turpin, second, 58.26. Paul Howell, though, number 68, getting the win with a 57.39. And not enough in Class D to give you a result. Joy Hoyle currently sitting 4th after that 62.35. And still only the one registered competitor for the British Championship has completed a run, and that was Peter Herbert. There we are. another season at Loton Park nearly complete. Thanks to all of our hard-working marshals for the best of service this year. Former club president John Mole's wife provided cake for them at lunchtime all through this season. And guess who had the last slice, Jerry? That'd be me.
I would never have guessed that, Eddie.
But yeah, thanks to Mrs. Mould for doing that for everybody. Very, very well-liked little treat. There will be this year, in case they didn't notice when they signed on, there is a Marshalls lunch you can put your name down for this year. There is no Midland Marshals Championship. This is the second year that we haven't run that. But there is an invitation on the 1st day of December, isn't it? December the 1st, Sunday. The morning after the Midland Championship Awards, which is all of those are at the Chateau Impney, and sometime later in January at Albrighton, the Mercure Albrighton, is our Hagley Awards lunch. So 12 o'clock start there. See if I can find that in the diary and tell you when the date is. I should know. I only put it in there when Bill Pardo rang me the other night. He drawn the short straw, being the person who has to communicate with me.
Meanwhile, we've got Jerry Neary leaving the line in the Westfield SCI, so we're into Class D now, which is still led on the first runs by Ash Mason from Simon Jenks, 58 and 59 seconds respectively. Jerry Neary, problematic first run. He's into sight now around Fletcher's. Coming up into Triangle now with the Westfield. And heading out towards Keeper. Coming up to the line now. It's number 72, Becky Manton with the Picker Fury with a Ford C-Tech engine. And Phil Goff comes into Triangle now with his Caterham Suzuki. So Jerry Neary should be...
Jerry Neary up into Museum. Outbreaks himself a little bit at Fallow. And over the finish. 65.87. Hot on his heels, Phil Goff in the Caterham Hayabusa.
Becky Manton has gone past us and is now going through keepers.
And Phil through the finish, 60.18, takes him all the way up into third place.
Now Ray Law, Oxford base, Oxford Don.
Becky Manton up into Museum with the Fisher Fury powered by the 1.8 Z-Tech engine. And Becky through the finish, 65.63.
Ray Law coming your way, Steve.
Ray Law now into the final corner, charging up towards the top of the hill in the Vauxhall powered Caterham, and it's a 58.75 for Ray, takes him into the lead of the class.
Wow, wasn't expecting that. Now here comes Steve Garner, currently well down. He's languishing in 6th place in the class at the moment.
And Simon Jenks and Ash Mason probably haven't realised that their leading places have been usurped. In fact, by Ray Law. Simon Jenks leads the line now. Ash Mason follows him up. Former class leader. Now that stands to Ray Law.
Steve Garner now up into Museum with his Westfield. And through the finish, 59.04.
Big sideways moment out of Fletcher from Simon Jenks.
And Ash Mason has left the start line too. All going to be settled in the next half minute or so. There's Ash Mason now coming out of Fletcher's. A bit tidier than Simon Jenks was. Simon was, very sideways out of Fletcher's.
Simon Jenks into an outer museum in the Suzuki-powered Caterham. Was lying in second place, but a 58.03 takes him into the lead. Can Ash Mason beat that time? Here he is into fallow. And we've got the red flag here at the final post. Simon Jenks has come to a halt on the access road.
And that was spectacular by Martin Watts. Just as he picked up the red flag ahead of him, he lost it and almost spun the car. He's managed to avoid the barrier. He's been sent back to the paddock for a restart because he'd already been red flagged when that moment occurred, using the reverse gear, which is your hand on the road.
So, why was the red flag out, Steve? There was a problem up the top, I think.
Sounded as if something happened to Simon in the return road. He got that class leading time of 58.03. Ash has got a red flag. Or did Ash get a red flag? Was it Ash who had the moment? Let's wait for Steve to confirm it. Martin Watts is back in the paddock. I thought he was going to go into the barrier then, sideways, Martin Watts, but...
well, Ash has got a time of 78, so... not quite sure what happened there.
He was quick to museum, look. He was,
if you can hear us, Steve.
2 seconds quicker.
Can you hear us at all, Steve? Apparently not.
Sorry, Jerry, what was that?
Well, we're wondering what the situation was. Who got the red flag and why? Because Ash Mason's got a 78-second run. Was there a problem for Ash?
Well, I've got Simon Jenks down as a 58.03, but he spun after the finish. And then Ash Mason was flagged at the last post.
Yeah, because Ash set a very, very quick museum time of 47.88 to Simon Jenks' 49.85.
Well, we haven't got a flag come up on our computer for Ash. We've got a time for him.
Sure it will.
Which is what
well,
was
Martin
confusing.
Watts hasn't come up as a flag either, so they'll deal with that. It's when they register the time, isn't it, that it'll show. Sitting on the start line is Derek Kessell.
Well, we know we're going to have reruns for Ash Mason and Martin Watts. Here's Martin Watts' sole opposition, Derek Kessell from Saltash down in Cornwall with the Space Frame Maguire Cooper S, who leads Watts after the first runs by a substantial margin. And then we move into the over 2 litre sports leader class. So we've got two registered contenders for the runoff.
They've managed to get Simon Jenks turned round, and he's driving to the holding area. Everything seems to be okay with Simon. Just a spin after the finish.
So a quick service call for the driver of a Porsche Boxster, who's well up the spectator area. Part where did you say, Bill?
On the outside of the museum.
On the outside of the museum, so he's managed to get all the way up there. But he's left his lights on. So you don't want him to come back to the car and find them flattened. Some cars automatically turn them off after about 5 minutes. So. Okay, that's that one done. Right. Yeah, so yeah, we've now seen that Ash Mason did get a flag, and so did we know Martin Watts did, although he was lucky to get away without bending the car, to be honest to me. But they're back in the paddock, they're going to get a restart. And Simon, as we now know, is safely in the finished paddock. Right, here we go, Derek Kessell away from the start line. And to be followed, but yeah, we got some confirmation of what people need to do to score one up in the middle. And here comes Derek Kessell in the Maguire Mini speeding towards us. And Derek Kessell away, and away from the start line, Graham Loach, to be followed up, we hope, by should be, and it is Christian Mineeff. It should be, yes, it's Christian Mineeff. Here's Graham Loach in the Lola Porsche.
Derek Kessell up into museum with the Maguire Mini Cooper S, currently leading Class F with a 62.47 and extends his lead with a 60.4. Graham Loach already up into an out of fallow in the Lola T492 Porsche. And Graham over the finish, 60.08, goes ahead of Christian Mineeff.
But Christian's on his way. Now, has left the start line.
The lead still stands to Allan McDonald with a 59.61. Bart's flags coming out of the triangle for Christian Mineeff.
Yes, he has finally seen the red light, yeah. Sun in his eyes, of course. Don't know what's happened there. Graham Loach did a 60.08, Jerry. But
Why did Christian Mineeff get the red flag?
We don't know. Something's happened further up the hill, I think. And they're pulling forward. Ash Mason. Second red flag for Ash.
Significant run for Ash, because if he wins the class, he'll move up to second place overall in the Midland Championship, ahead of
Tony Adams. Mm.
He was already won by Robert Kenrick, of course. Who's won it more than once, so we just check to see how many times.
Robert Kenrick, three times.
Kenrick has, well, in fact, he's now won it 4 times.
Yeah, this is the 4th, yeah. Last year was the 3rd. And his dad's won it a couple of times as well. Clive.
Several multiple winners. Well, of course, Mike Turpin's won it 5 times, as has Rob Stevens.
Yeah. Rob, we hope Rob might make a comeback one day.
Yes, he first won it in the Caterham, I think, way back.
Yeah. And of course, he bent the force.
The force, right.
Centre force. He bent it that badly testing at Kerborough before he was due to go off. He was due to take it off to the Channel Islands to compete. But he bent it that badly at a Kerborough test session that he's never been seen since. Must have been a big one. But he still went to the Channel Islands, but he and his family and friends took their push bikes with him instead and did a cycling tour of the island.
Believe it or not, it was all of 29 years ago that Rob Stevens won his first Midland Championship.
A long while back.
And he went and did it again the following year, 1991. First ever winner of the Midland Championship, which was held in 1918, was Charles Barter,
whose name still pops up every now and again in motorsport news.
Oh, he's still a
classes,
prolific competitor in historic road sports races.
Yeah. It pops up on...
as is his brother and his son.
Pops up on Paul Lawrence's historic page. It's always worth it. Always worth it. It's the last bit of motorsport news. It's really worth the read. And he lives not far from here. Even if it's something relatively modern, if you send the information to Paul, he'll make sure it appears, and obituaries and reports, you name it. He'll slot it in somewhere, which is great.
So here's Ash Mason coming up to the line for the 3rd time. As we said, a significant run for him if he can take the class win. He will finish 2nd overall in the Midland Championship, and he's
been displaced to 3rd by Simon Jenks and Ray Law, of course.
Yes, he's got to be 58.03 now, which Simon Jenks
needs to take 8.4 out of his earlier time, Jerry.
Yeah.
To stop Simon Jenks. And that's in fairly decent condition. So it's still a bit slippy down here at approach to Triangle.
And Ash Mason on his rerun into and out of Fallow, up into Museum Bend. Time to beat 58.03. And Ash Mason 54.61.
Tremendous time. Takes 2nd overall in the Midland Championship with that time.
That's good. And former winner, of course, back in 2007, I'm sure it was. And here's Christian Mineeff on a restart, having been pulled back. The sun was so bright in his eyes, he didn't see the red flag. He almost missed the red light, which you think would be an impossibility, that the sun was shining straight into his face.
Yes, spot on, Eddie. 2007 it was.
Yeah, the old memory doesn't fail me.
I've got mine now. I had to rely on my
Can't remember what I had for breakfast.
Christian Mineeff in the Pilbeam MP43 almost loses it at Museum, just about keeps it going, but over the finishing line, 53.7.
Here's Allan McDonald coming our way. Wow. Oh, there's no way Allan McDonald can improve to that extent, is there? With a 59.61 and he needs a 53.69 to get the class win. Well, that must be beyond it. We'll see. Some differences in condition between then and now, of course.
Allan McDonald takes a big cut at fallow. Inside wheels on the grass. Now through Museum. And Allan McDonald charging up towards the finish. And it's a 54.21. Gets pushed back to second.
Yeah. What a performance from Christian Mineeff.
Les Buck in the little OMS Hornet, running solo at the moment in Class A.
Here's Richard Summers in the family DJ Firehawk.
And Les improves to 58.73.
Then Adam Greenen. And coming to the start line is Martin Watts on a restart. Oh, and Sparks.
Richard Summers up into Museum with the DJ Firehawk.
Sparks from under the nose.
The finish,
Greenen car.
51.58 for Richard Summers. Takes him into the lead of the class.
It's all happening here this afternoon.
And Greenen in the Empire Evo 2. Bound to make an improvement, and he goes into the lead now with a 50.35.
Time's absolutely tumbling this afternoon. Sitting on the start line is Mark Lawrence, the 1999 Leaders Champ.
Back to Class F and up into Museum, Martin Watts and the Silver Riot. Martin through the finish and goes from second place into the lead with a 58.15.
Right, now Mark Lawrence is away. So returning to hill climbing after 20 seasons away. You weren't expecting that at the beginning of this season. Here he is now, in the OMS 3000M. The latest space frame chassis from Steve Owen. Almost stalls the engine there. Engine dropped to idle as he went down through the gears. .1100 class getting
up into follow Mark Lawrence in the OMS 3000M. Harry Pick's car taking Mark up towards the finish, and finishing time of 55.92.
Decent improvement over his earlier time of 58.64.
That should be the end of a batch. It is indeed. The red flag's coming out.
Right, let's go and give you a review of where we are. See what we did. Gave you the... I think I'm going to give you C2, at the risk of saying I've already told you, I'm going to cover C2 all the way through. So modified series production cars over 1400 up to 2 litres. 321 there is that dragging himself back from last place was Darren Balster, car number 56, to finish third with a 59.61. Paul Drowne, only one completed run but finished second. Number 757 with a 59.44, but winning number 57 Colin Satchell, in the same car as Paul Drowne, 58.83 on his second run. And modified series production cars over 2 litres, that's the one called Class C3. Third place there went to Jason Tunnicliffe in the 2.1 Peugeot, 61.27 on the second of his runs. Second place, multiple Midland champion, 5 times in fact, Midland champion Mike Turpin, 58.26 for second place. But Paul Howes in the Porsche beating the Loton with a 57.39, car number 68, Paul Howes. Modified specialist production cars, Joe has just been discussing with you. The 3-2-1 there is that Ray Law did a 58.75 he moved into the lead but then lost it, so he's third, 58.75. Second place Simon Jenks may have spun after the finish, but he finishes second in class, number 77, Simon Jenks with a 58.03, taking the win and moving up to second in the Midland Championship. Number 78 Ash Mason, a 54.61 for the former Bentley boy. Libra cars up to 2 litres, just the 2 there, and it was they were both on the second set of runs. 60.4 for Derek Kessell, takes the consolation award, and Martin Watts, number 81, winning it with a 58.15. Not many minutes to go. Libra over 2 litres, the 3 competitors there. So Graham Lake's third, 60.08 on his second class run. All of these on the second. Allan McDonald finishes second with a 54.21, and Christian Mineeff coming right through and with a stunning time of 53.7 takes the win. 600cc racing cars, only Les Buck. He's competing solo in that class with withdrawal of 2 other competitors, and Les did a 58.73 on his second run. And the 1100s, well, we've still got the vast majority of those yet to come, but currently it's Adam Greenen on top from Richard Summers. Of course, Adam Greenen having, it shows him an 82.55, but we think he had assistance, which means that probably ought to be a fail. But he did a 50.35 not many minutes ago. After following up Richard Summers, he did a 51.58. Who's going to bet against Jack Cottrell coming through, providing the weather holds again for the rest of the afternoon? Which he should be up in the next batch. All this talk of batches, Jerry, does a Coventry kid's head in, because a batch is the bread roll in which we serve our breakfast. As I'm sure I've told you many times. Great big bread roll, they're batch because they join together and you snap them apart. Right, who have we got coming to the line? Oh, it's Keith Weeks, the man from Stricken in Scotland, although originally from somewhere in the home counties. Talking, you'll recognise the home counties accent. Works inside town in a social role of some kind or another, and lives at a village called Stricken, not very far outside Peterhead. Otherwise known as the Blue Tube. Around there. Right, here's Keith Weeks now. He builds replacement those came from wood himself at home. He's usually got 4 or 5 of them lined up in the trailer.
Unusual car, 4 image chassis with a Suzuki bike engine.
Sitting on the line is number 97. A red flag, have we? Somebody's gone off.
Keith Weeks up into museum with the Image FF5, running in the 1100cc class, and Keith through the finish, 57.77.
Looking as if, we can't see anything, but looking as if Dave Tatham's had a bit of a moment at loggerheads. You can see the marshals around, probably his car around. You can just see their bright orange showing through the foliage. which is yet to start dropping really. It's beginning to look autumnal, but not many leaves are down yet. Yeah, he spun just out of sight. There is a thanks to David Finlay for that one. I don't know how he's seeing all of this. He must have some sort of sixth sense. I don't know. Either that or the cameras are picking up stuff that we're not. Well, he's got a very good telescope. He must live next door to Jodrell Bank in that case. And
well, he is at the other end of the country.
Yeah, he's up somewhere near Helensburgh. Right, and so Dave Tatham spun out of sight. He got a really quick time into loggerhead, so he probably came in there a bit too hot. So you can see this on the live stream, Jerry. There are cameras up there, apparently.
Yes, it would be handy
if we could
see
that.
In here,
we could see
it.
Even if it was a split one with, you know.
Well, in fact, they did that at Wiscombe this year for the four-way split screen at Wiscombe in the continent. The British Championship round in July. Very useful because you can't, as you know, you can't see much from the start line at Wiscombe.
No.
Once the cars disappear into
On the other hand, you see even less from the start line at Craig Ampler.
Yeah.
In fact, if
the first 50 yards up the reverse bend, and then the rest of the hill is completely.
You used to have a job seeing that where they did put you.
Yeah.
It's that open-fronted hostility unit, isn't it?
Yeah.
And here's Dave Tatham, and this is, if anybody remembers an OMS Hornet with a bright lime green upper body run by Stephen Linoe, this is that car which has got a monoshock. It's the only, as far as we're aware, it's the only OMS Hornet with a monoshock in the front, that is, of course. So on the start line still, patiently waiting his turn, is Jim Spencer. It's their little race. He built this car with his brother David a few years ago. It's got a fairly clever little CNC bracket on the right-hand side of the car that effectively turns the Kawasaki engine into a bit of a stressed member. It's a very cleverly packaged little car. The radiator's tucked away flush on the side. And it just shows you what a couple of good hands-on engineers can do at home in the shed. And of course, I happen to know the king of the shed mechanics in the UK, of course, is the legendary Allan. Our way, it's a quick car. I haven't seen his brother David in it for a long, long while now. They used to share the car. You can see the radiator tucked away almost between the rear suspension arms. Tucked away very neatly indeed. Minimalist car. I like things like that. Right, and Clive Austin away from the start line. Man, amongst many different
Jim
cars.
Spencer in the 1988 Formula 3 Reynard chassis single-seater over the finish, 51.88. That's what's in third place.
Here's Clive Austin amongst the various cars in his garage, as well as a McLaren. It's a Ferguson T20 tractor. Right, Debbie Dunbar away from the start line now. Ladies record holder here, but not in this particular car.
Clive Austin was fourth with the Empire race, and he pulled through to the top three, right through the finish, 51.28, goes second.
Oh, well done, and all getting busy out there in this very heavily populated 1600 class. Andy Greenen now. Brother
Debbie
Adam.
Dunbar up into the museum now with the space frame DJ Firehawk. Debbie charges over the finishing line, 48.98 into the lead of the class.
Yeah, here comes Andy into the lead in qualifying by far. Here's Andy Greenen going like the proverbial train as well. He's going to fancy his chances now as he gets near the top of the hill.
Andy Greenen in the Empire Evo.
Steve
already
Martin.
charging to the finish.
Steve
To
Martin.
the finish, 49.180 seconds.
Greenen second and third. Here's Steve Martin, the little PCD Saxon minimalist. Martin Ogilvy
Steve
designed
Martin,
chassis.
PCD Saxon heading towards Museum.
On the start line now, Darren Gumbley.
And the little Saxon over the finish, 49.86. Third.
Now pushes Adam Greenen back to fourth. Here goes Harry Pick. Harry Pick's coming your way. Darren Gumbley away from the start. Quick away from the start. 2.03 to the 64 board.
Harry Pick, OMS 3000M, on a charge, and to the finish, 49.5. He now moves into third, dropping Steve Martin fourth.
Jack Cottrell now, having seen his time usurped by Auld before him this afternoon. Here he is with a chance.
Darren Gumbley, tail wagging as he comes out of fallow. The 14A. Kawasaki Power taking him through the finish in a 49.24. Goes second. Sorry, goes third. Jack Cottrell, leader after the first set of runs. Up into Museum Bend.
Last runner in the 1100 car.
Over the finish, and it's a 51.02, so he dropped all the way down to, I think, 6th.
Yeah, having led this morning.
And that's 7th qualifying place for Jack Cottrell.
And here's Carole Nicholls, so we're into our Formula Ford class now.
Into Formula Ford's now, Steve Day, who was fourth after the first set of runs with the Swift, heading to the finish. And through the finishing line, 61.11, so now becomes the leader.
Yeah, and here comes Auld. Gentle
Carole Nicholls in the Nike Mark IV, car designed and built by her father. Carole over the finish, 68.38.
Chris Warden now with the car that runs so low it almost seems like it's running on the track.
Currently third in the class in the British leaders, heads towards the finish with the Swift. And Doug, 64.27, locked into second place at the moment.
Yeah, now Charlie Reilly, another one you wouldn't bet against. Always there or thereabouts.
Warden in the 1991 Swift. Out of the top 5, but a 63.93 takes him into second place at the moment. Charlie Reilly appearing at Fallow.
Richard Weaver next along.
Led the class after the first run. This would be an all-important time. It's a 60.35. So he goes into the lead. But is it enough? Richard Weaver into and out of Fallow. Second after the first run.
Oh, Morecambe
to 60.98. So slots into second place again behind Charlie Reilly.
With Paul Morecambe following Richard Weaver up, and Sam Lester, last runner in the class, just at Triangle Bend right now.
Paul Morecambe in the venerable Merlin Mark 11A over the finish in a 59.8, so he goes into the lead. So it's all down to Samantha Lester Sam takes a big cut at fallow. Up into Museum. Head down to the finish. Over the finishing line. 60.13. Only good enough for second place.
The Paul Morecambe taking the oldest car in the car. So now away from the start line, Matt Ryder.
Olivia Cooper through Museum in the Force CA. Was fifth in the class after the first runs and a 49.91.
Oh, and Caroline
into the lead.
Sorry, Matt Ryder isn't going to qualify because here he is coasting at very slow speed. Has he had a moment? Or no, he's not had a red flag. No. Engine dead, coming down the hill. Had a stick, going to require a little bit of assistance to get the car back to the paddock. Stopped. I don't know what's happened there. Master's arriving to do the business. Yeah. He can run in the Gougourd 51 later on in the competition, can't he? Of course. Now, apparently the camera that's up out of our sight picked up a load of smoke from the rider's car before he switched it all off, and he was craning his hand around, I think looking for a master switch somewhere on the edge of the cockpit rim behind his head. That's
so we've got 13 qualifying times so far, which means that Peter Herbert with the Porsches drops off the end, and final qualifier at the moment is Keith Weeks with a 57.77, but top qualifier Debbie Dunbar with 48.58, and we've got Andy Greenen, Darren Gumbley, Harry Pitt, Steve Marr and Olivia Cooper, all in the sub-52nd bracket, top six. Things will change. We've still got around 31 contenders left to set a place in the second, to try and get into the second runoff. Only the fastest person will get in.
So Allan Warburton away from the start line in the Gould that they acquired at the beginning of last season. It's the car in which Sean Gould won a couple of rounds at Doom 3 years ago now. It's Allan Warburton now. He shared cars with more hill climb champions than anybody else. Shared with David Grace, shared with Martin Grove, shared with Paul Haynes. How's that? So he mentored all those people, all of whom were discovered by Jim Robinson, I think.
Well, Paul Haynes wasn't actually champion, but he did win.
Two leaders around the museum, having used every millimetre of track at fallow. Allan over the finish, 49.82. Taking into the lead of Class J2.
Another member of the Cottrell family. This is Nicky in the 62. And away from the start line is John Fisher Davis in the Reynard TKD. Sitting around.
Cottrell in the MP82, Millington powered, heads out of museum.
Speaking of Millington.
Over the finish, 57.27.
Speaking of Millington, Bill Morris leaves the line in the Pilgrim MP88 with Millington power.
Richard Davis in the Reynard with the TKD YV8 2-litre engine, heading for the finish, and it's a 52.95. Patricia. Takes her into second place in the class.
Massively experienced driver Bill Morris has gone past us. Nicola Dearden in the minimalist Delara modified by Gould some years ago. The Leon Bachelier, she turns in at the triangle right over the rumble strip, but manages to avoid touching any one of the three blocking
Bill Morris
cars.
into and out of museum at the MP88 hill beam. And Bill through the finish, 61.09. Good time for an octogenarian. Meanwhile, into and out of Fallow, Nicola Dearden in the Gould Delara. Nicola heading to the finish and through it 59.62. And that should be the end of the batch.
It's the end of the
flags are out.
Yeah, the red flags are up at the start line, which is a giveaway. We managed to keep the start line camera going this afternoon, so thanks to Roger Warren for setting that little fella up for me. Or for us. Right, here we go. So, racing cars up to 1100cc, that's class I. And the 3-2-1 here is that number 104, Darren Gumbley. Third with a 49.24. Second place, 101, Andy Greenen, 49.18. Debbie Dunbar taking the win, number 100, Debbie Dunbar on a 48.98. For the win, the Formula Ford. Oh, the class position's a little bit topsy-turvy on the second set of class runs. And Charlie Reilly, hang on, just a moment. Jerry just checking the time for Debbie Dunbar, making sure we have got the right one. Right, back to the Formula Ford car. So, yeah, these start positions pretty much should have been thrown in a hat and or thrown in the pot of the set of dice and thrown, because we end up with Charlie Reilly, number 113, finishing third with a 60.35. Sam Lester closed in the second place with a 60.13, but Paul Morecombe, the oldest car in the class, comes through 59.8 is class winning time. All of those on their second run. Go on to class J. Well, we've not seen enough of J. 1600 racing cars. We've only had Matt Ryder's fail, Olivia Cooper's 49.91 and Allan Warburton's 49.82 to be currently leading the class, but you've got the likes of Zach Zammit, Arnon Price, Alan's son David as well. Still got to take their run, so it's pretty much up for grabs. But if there was the pool of smoke that we were told about from the back of Matt Ryder's car, we're probably unlikely to see his mother Caroline out in the car. And of course we had a couple of significant fails in the 1600 class this morning, with Les Much failing to post a time, same from Steve Morgan, and that Mike Andrews, of course. What we don't know, we never saw Mike Andrews' car, so we don't know if it looks damaged or not. Right, thanks for coming in. So we've seen the last car go back into the paddock. And what happened to my batch list? Did it blow away? Have to put it in the stack here. I rely on the batch list to know where we are in the scheme of things. on walk. Ah, here it is. So, upcoming now is batch 6. This is the biggest batch of the day with some 31 competitors in it. Batch 7 has just 19, of whom are registered for the championship, followed by that last little batch of 4. Right, we have a car. Oh, it is Mike Andrews. So number 118, Mike Andrews, away from the start line, recovered the car from whatever ailed him earlier on, up at Hall. Any second now, will he get? Yes, there he is in sight. Mike Andrews, that's CFO4. Mike coming Stu's way, and on the start line now is Stuart Dow, S25. The former Charlie and Justin Smith.
Mike Andrews into and out of museum with the OMS CFO4. Failed to post the time on his first run and a 60.57 seconds.
Diagonal lock-up of the right rear and left front from Stuart Dow at triangle. On the start line, 1, 2, 1 and away. That's Nicholls in his OMS 28.
Stuart Dow in the OMS 25, safely through museum, charging towards the finish, and 53.03 takes him into second place, fourth place in the class.
Yeah, fourth place, so Zach Zammit still holds on to third. He's going to be looking to challenge for the win. Here's Steve Morgan coming our way, very quickly away from the start with a 1.92 to the 64 board. Failed this morning.
Neil Cole, another of the OMS 28, heading for the finish. And Neil improves to 53.42.
Les much away from the start line. Another one who lost his copy pick this morning. There is that chance.
Steve Morgan with the Empire Evo.
Oh,
another driver who failed to record a first run time, but a 51.97 takes him into fourth place.
So Les Much slithered the car down into Triangle Bend. And Liam Cooper now away from the start.
In the GWR Raptor, into and out of museum, which he safely negotiates on this run. And Les through the finish, 49.56 to take the lead of the class.
Yeah, so that's, well, you don't get better than 0 to last lead, and not many left to run. But the ones that are to run are the incredibly quick Zach Zammit, Arnon Price and Dave Warburton. And Cooper on his way. And oh, here's Zach Zammit, rocketing, 1.95 away from the start to the 64 mark.
Liam Cooper into and out of museum.
Oh, Zach Zammit, the back end skips out.
51.53.
This has got
Zach Zammit's first run time.
This has got flat out qualification runs written all over it for Zach Zammit. He's either going to do it or he's going to come to a halt. Arnon Price, 1.8.
Zippy Zach Zammit up into museum. And oh yes, he's gone back into the lead with a 46.77.
Arnon Price did 1.8 seconds to the 64 marker. Best we've seen all day, Dave Warburton.
Arnon Price, almost outbreaks himself, just about gets away with it to Fallow. Through museum already. Heading for the finish. over it in 46.95 to take second place back.
And there goes David Warburton. Should be another quick one. Look at that, 1.95, 1.8, 1.98 consecutive cars away from the start line.
Dave Warburton into museum, was third after the first set of runs. He's charging for the finish, and a 46.42 takes him into the lead.
And quickest qualifier this afternoon so far, Dave Warburton. This is highly, highly competitive. It's why people love these bike engine single seaters, whether 1100 or 1600. Can't believe that 1.8 0 to 64
Lee
of Iron
Griffith
Price.
successfully through Fallow, sparks his way up to museum.
Ian Tucker now.
There's a bit of a slide through the corner. Over the finish, 49.64 to extend his lead in the class.
Next along is going to be Paul Tinsley, first time out in this Delara that he acquired recently, that's been through more hands than a 50-year-old Skoda, and loads of them. Many of these Delaras have.
The OMS 28. Past the commentary box, en route to the finish, and through it in 60.94.
Yeah, the 1600 significantly quicker than the 2 litre class.
Paul Tinsley in the Delara heads for the finish line, and through the finish 54.69. Good improvement for Paul, takes him into third place in the class at the moment.
John Cottrell starts us in the 62. George Bleasdale in this pretty much original looking MP88 with the QED Ken Snellam Rover V6 in the back, 2 litre Rover V6.
John Cottrell on the run to the finish with the Hillby MP82 and 56.02 for John Cottrell.
Now Mike Tregonning, so his 2 litre automobile engine class.
George Bleasdale heading to museum with the Rover V6 powered MP88 Hillbeam. It's wonderful as it heads to the finish, and it's a 55.09 George.
Here's Mike Tregonning, the retired Ford dealer in Cornwall. This is still going under his name, but not his ownership anymore. Andy Bougourd now, Channel Islander.
Mike Tregonning up into museum with the MP88 Hillbeam powered by a Ford Duratac, and it's a 51.37 for Mike, into second place in the class.
Andy Bougourd's car. We've got a number of these bike engine cars now that have grown to just over 1600 cc to put them in the 2 litre class.
Into and out of Fallow, doesn't go for a swim this time. Up into museum.
Josh Moss now.
Fourth PT flight to the finish. 52.21 over 10 seconds quicker.
Unfortunately not quick enough to qualify, and now even the 12th fastest qualifier, which is Olivia Cooper, is quicker than the fastest time we saw in the run-off this morning.
And out of Museum Bend in the Delara. Joshua through the finish, 52.79. Boxy just behind Warden.
Harry Davis now.
Harry Davis indulges in a bit of drifting at fallow, but gets it through the corner without any problems. Through Museum, over the finish, 50.85, and he goes second.
Right, here comes Tim Elmer in his Dallara with the TKDV8. And through the double S of Keepers, next Tim Davis. Another one in this 2 litre class who fairly senior chap, but you wouldn't bet against him.
Tim Elmer with the 1999 Formula 3 Dallara, now with one of the YP8 engines. He's through the finish, 51.1.
And Andrew Henson next. There's only a handful left in this 2 litre category. And here's
JD in the MP88 Pilbeam. He shares with Bill. And 49.6 takes him into the lead of the class ahead of Lee Griffith.
Davis, yes, 49.16. Well,
Andrew Henson in the Gould Dallara into an outer museum bend. A little bit of trouble getting traction and power down, but he's over the finish. 49.68. Goes third.
And Jonathan Varley next.
He's taking 49.16 from Tim Davis.
Jonathan Varley in the GWR Predator. Weeks through Museum Bend. Charges through the finish. 48.85 for Jonathan Varley. Takes the class win. And maximum points in the British Leaders Championship will probably ensure that he's third overall.
And now Stu Young. GR51. Won 2 British Championships with a cost of 3.6 in the back to Drowne White Jr.
Stu Young into an outer museum with the Gould GR51. 4 litre Judd V8. Over the finish, 50.58.
Yeah, well,
And takes her into the lead of the class.
Bernie Kevill going to get a red flag. No, is it Bernie? No, what's I can't see this.
Oh, Bernie Kevill gets on the gravel on the outside of fallow.
Oh, I think we've got something on the track, have we?
Back on the straight and narrow, over the finish, 51.21 for Bernie Kevill, slots into third place.
Andy Coley now on the hill. Up to the start line comes Sandra Tomlin. So, two young Bernie Kevill, Andy Coley and Sandra Tomlin are the
Andy Coley in the GR55 Cosworth V6 powers out the museum, heading for the finish and through it in 49.39 to go into the lead of the class for the time being. Sandra Tomlin in the Bilbeam 97, the Judge 4 litre, powers her way towards the finish. Through the finish, 53.22. Southers, neat and tidy, through museum, on the charge to the finish, through the finish, 51.29.
This back from New away from the line, having to guest drive in the car. It's actually using built, and he's certainly looking after for this year's new British champion, Warden Smiggy. It's all Cosworth GR59. The shakedown run in the car at Knox Hill a few weeks ago. First time on the hill climb course this weekend.
Did 1.99 away from the start line. He's the guy who looks after the car for Wallace in the week.
Into and out of fallow with the Gould GR59 Cosworth XD engine. Shares the car today with Wallace Mingues. And over the finish, Tom New, 49.08 to go into the lead of the class. That is the end of the match.
You can do the classes.
Yeah, I'll just do the classes for you folks. So go back to the 1600 racing car class, so over 1100 up to 1600. I'll give you the 3, 2, 1 there. Well, fourth at the very end was Les Mutt, so he finishes fourth. Number 126, Iron Price, third with a 46.95. Second place, number 125, Zach Zammit, our Maltese champion, 46 points, and airline pilot, of course, 46.77. And Dave Warburton taking the win with a fabulous 46.42, car number 127. and we'll have a look at the 2 litre racing cars. And third place, number 129, Lee Griffiths, 49.64. Tim Davis, who's been around for so long, competing for 40 odd years, finishes second with a 49.16. Jonathan Varley in the Predator Cosworth, 48.85, his class winning time. And that's all we can give you. We know we'll see in the next about 5 cars in the up to 2 litre forced induction class.
Last car down the hill, number 141, Jonathan Varley.
Thanks, Steve. So at the moment, fastest qualifier is Dave Warburton with that 46.42. As Jerry points out, all of those runs this afternoon are quicker than we saw this morning and in the run-off. So conditions, despite that sudden little soaking, conditions have improved consistently since late morning. Blowing a bit. We've had a couple of incidents where where marshals have had to go on and clear bits of branch off the track. One of them was the length of your arm, so they had to go. Right, here comes Jonathan Varley in the Predator Cosworth. It doesn't look like the car it originally was back in 2004 with the V10 in the back. Changed the proportion of the car completely. This big overhanging tall airbox is long gone now.
One more batch of potential run-off qualifiers to come. 16 more drivers looking for 12 places. At the moment it's David Warburton who leads the way in qualifying with 46.42 from Jack Zammit, the hero of the morning qualifying. Inan Price, Jonathan Varley, Debbie Dunbar in there. At 5th, in 6th place is Andy Greenen, and then Darren Gumbley, Andy Coley, John Pick, Les Much, Lee Griffiths, and 12th qualifier at the moment, Allan Warburton on 49.82.
Struggling there. He's struggling. So into the 2 litre fourth induction class now. On the line, number 144, Pete Tatham. All the cars in this class supercharged, with the exception of Paul Hames, his school Suzuki, which is turbocharged. Pete Tatham in the X. Andy Macbeth, OMS 25 Suzuki.
Here we go, Pete Tatham away from the line. Supercharged OMS. And so a tendency to push that a little bit too hard, too far and too fast. See if Pete can do it this afternoon. He needs to get into the high 40s to qualify at least, preferably in a 46 to 48. Coming to the line now is Kelvin Broad, so we're into the 2 litre forced induction class, just 5 runners there with the loss of Ben Stevenson.
Pete Tatham goes arrowing off at fallow, a slow rotation, comes to a halt, just waiting directions from the marshals at the top of the straight, making his way slowly back towards the track.
I think you're going in the commentator's choice there, Eddie.
That's going to make... Oh no, has he got it back on track? Yes, just about. So he's back on track, heading towards the top of the hill.
Okay.
Well, thank you for the guided tour of your...
Our little domain. Well, I spend
Crumbling slowly towards the finish. Clock still ticking away, so it will give him the time, but I think it's always better to fail against somebody when that happens. 87.04 is the official time.
Right. Right, Kelvin Broad now. In the fourth TA. Oh, and he spun off on the inside of Loggerheads into Fletcher. He's getting back on the track, but this is a goner. So I dare say he's going to coast himself back down into the paddock. Engine off, is it, and coasting. No, the engine is running. Just touch over enthusiastic at Loggerheads. You just see him under the trees. Still trees in full foliage. Tricky to see, but could see, couldn't miss that. Oh, and he's got the usual Flymo grass on the side tray. If you run in the sprint championship, there is a Flymo cup for the person who's gone furthest off onto the grass in the season.
I think there used to be an award here for furthest off at Fallow at one time.
Yeah.
Well, you can go a long way, as I know from bitter experience. If you go off what is now Fletcher, you can go right down the.
Do you remember Jerry Neary at Barben a few years ago?
Yes.
300 feet, and people saying, I couldn't have gone that far. Well, I got a photo of the car
Down the hillside.
behind the recovery unit. You can see the recovery unit, and they go, oh, you were right, he really did go that far. And he didn't hit one of those rocks that stands up through the turf. Whereas Tony Wiltshire did, of course. And Jeff Twemley.
At Barben.
Yeah, at Barben, yeah.
And notably Peter Kay back in 100 to death.
Yeah, another one.
1980.
Another one
your father told you about, yeah.
You have to keep that one going. Right, so on the start line now is Simon Moyse. So let's have a quick look at the positions. Well, with Pete Tatham, well, he did post a time of 87.04. It sounded like he went all four wheels off, so that wouldn't count anyway. The Kelvin Broad, it says Kelvin Broad got a flag. I don't know. Look more like a fail to me. We'll have to wait and see. Yeah. Because we saw the end of it.
Unless he got a flag before he spun, rather like...
yeah, but it does occasionally cause people to did with Martin Watt. It was the sight of the flag that having to go in an odd direction that caused him to have that sort of spin. Right, here from Simon Moyse now in the supercharged Gould GR59. Another car coming up to the start line. It's Richard Spedding. Currently class leader on a 54.64. Simon Moyse can do the 62.81 early, which was tantamount to a fail. And yeah, Richard Spedding's away.
Simon Moyse in the Gould GR59 into and out of Museum Bend. Line 5th in the class, with a 48.8, rating to the lead. Richard
Spedding now, he's on it. That's Simon Moyse. That was a massive run by Simon. On the start line there, Paul Haynes, car number 148.
Richard Spedding darts up to Museum in the Raptor, charging towards the finish and through it in 45.27 to take the lead.
Qualified so far today. Yeah, shoves Lee Griffiths off the back of the 12. Paul Haynes now. Start for Paul, but 2 1/4 seconds away from the 64, and he goes off to the edge of the track. Oh, he managed to drag it back. That was quite dramatic. He kept the boot in, but he's lost some time leaving the triangle. So the rhythm's gone from this one.
Well, Les Martin's the man watching the box now. He's in the number 12 spot.
Paul Haynes in the second of the GR59s in Class K2, out of Museum, over the finishing line, 48.04,
takes him into second place. Now here's Matt Ryder on the start line in the big GR 51. Too young this weekend.
So Lesmar drops out and Port Haynes is the fifth qualifying spot.
Yeah, he might just hang on to that. You can see. Just got a few runners yet to come. Here's Matt Ryder. Unfamiliar, I mean he's maybe his first run in this car pressed up 3 weeks ago. 4 weeks ago it is now, isn't it? Yeah. That time flies when you're enjoying yourself.
Matthew Ryder, Mr. New Zealand. To the finish line, through his 48.3. Takes the lead of the class.
Start lead 1-6, qualifying place 9.
That's 28. Through Museum.
Yeah, just in between Port Haynes and Simon Moore.
49.17 for Simon Andrews. Well, into third in class.
And it slots him into 11th, is it 11th qualification? No. Sixth qualification position now. So that's how he fits back end.
That's Matthew Ryder.
Yeah, Matt Ryder into sixth position. Simon Andrews
With 49 and 1-7 is just 100% quicker than Andy Greenen. That puts him into 10th place in qualifying.
Darren Gumbley, last man there. On the start line is Graham Wynn. Mighty Gould Judd. Left line, start away. 2.18 away from the start line to the 64. Loggerhead. Massive car, 16 Coley.
Graham Wynn into Museum. This is GR 59J. Quick after the first set of run. And a 47.2 takes him into the lead at the moment.
You think there's a ramp right low on across the track at Loggerhead? You'll get 7.91 on the 2.49. Like that, or something with legs and wings.
Andy Greenen now on the tour of up to 49 miles.
Coley,
See what Mark Coley does.
with the GR55, close with V6.
Sean Gould on the start line.
Mark through the finish, 48.32. What's into third at the moment?
That puts him into 8th qualifying slot.
Sean Gould now. Sean kicking on, and it was 1.9 away from the start line to 54.
Didn't make the cut for this time. Fastest qualifying time so far is Nicholls spending 45.27. Ollie
Tomlin, not racing for the championship. Almost as if it's gone goal for the
Bougourd into museum. Second GR59J. Failed to score on the first run, but a 44-8.
And that's re-qualifying.
Oliver Tomlin, the Bilby 97, into an out of museum. Over the finish, 48.9.
Would have qualified him at 8th position where he registered. Doc Moran. On the hill. Quick away from the start. Not as quick as Ollie Tomlin or Storm Gould was quick nevertheless at 1.97.
Doc Moran heading up into museum. The GR61F Gould. How's his way to the finish? And it's a 45-7 goes second.
Second in back, which is steady. And here's Alex Summers. Taking the championship confirmed, of course. Going for it now. Alex for 1.93 to 4
Alex Summers into and out of museum. Through the firestorm and through the finish. 45.7.
Well, Bougourd did get a red flag, so the red flag must have caused him to move concentration and spin off. But here he comes now. So he is the final runner in Ireland for 2 litre. Normally, sports induction class. Slides the car quite badly out of the bend. And Bougourd defeats the 3 in front of him to move up into an awards position in the car.
And heading through the finish, number 145, Kelvin Broad, 52.67.
No, remains
No improvement on his class position though.
Yes, no, he doesn't. Remains in 4th place and doesn't qualify either. So, right, here's Dave Uren. Couldn't get in this morning in the wet. Smoked the tyres as he's just close to locking them up coming down into the triangle. Big handful of runners in this class now. They are the people who we might consider the
Dave
front runners.
Duran, the Gould GR55B into an outer museum. Failed to get the first run off. And it's a 46.8 for Dave Duran.
And that puts him 7th fastest qualifier. Just now. Here's Wallace now, champion-elect. Next time we see him out in the sky, next season he'll have the number 1 on it. Here he comes. Oh, and he's lost it at Triangle Bend. Gets back going again now. Careful, careful, don't go for broke. Just try and keep it under the 48-second mark and you might qualify. That just went a bit pear-shaped for him here at Triangle. He needs to do a low 48.
Wallace Menges heading up into museum.
Should do that. Yeah.
Lifts an inside wheel through the corner and over the finish. 46.33.
Heaven knows how he's done that when you consider how it went wrong down here. That puts him into his 5th qualification slot. very, very close away from the 60 to the 64, 1.91. Equal with Ollie Tomlin and just behind Sean Gould in that respect. Here he comes now, locks the left-hand front coming down into, and the car slithers about. It is very, very tail happy here. Oh, there it goes. On the start line is last year's champion, Trevor Willis, and he'll be the last runner who's able to qualify.
All into museum. Momentary hesitation coming out of Farrell though. May have lost a couple of tenths. And Will through the finish, 46.08.
And that puts him fifth fastest. Here's Trevor Willis now. That's just away from the start of the previous two runners. Hold this tight in the triangle. Paul Haynes is watching the box now. He's still a fastest qualifier. He's behind Darren. Sean Gould still quickest on 44.88. Joe Maxwell.
Well, Trevor Willis goes straight on at Fallow onto the grass. Yeah, I don't think he's happy.
So Paul Haynes gets in.
Cruising to the top of the hill now.
That's where I say, which one is he?
So that's going to be the end of Trevor's Hillclimb Championship season. We're getting to run off with a 60.71.
To say that's a bit more typical of his season, isn't it? It's not been right this year for Trevor. Things just haven't been going the way we expect. He's no longer the scary Trevor of old.
Heading off into museum at the moment, Joe Mackerel in this Tika Peugeot. 70.23 on his first run, and great improvement, 59.02 on his second. And that is the end of the match.
Right, we're going to we'll be back with you with the class runners in a few moments' time. Just while we check out the run-off positions. Check the timekeepers to what we've got manually. Yeah, so we match, so that must we're happy with that. Right, let's touch back on the class positions, shall we? So we gave you the 1600cc racing cars. Now we need to. We gave you the 2 litre normally aspirated. It's the forced induction class with Calvin Broad taking that late run that we need to tell you about. So, you know, the assumption has to be that somewhere out of our sight he's shown a red flag for whatever reason, and then the slight lapse in concentration, and off he goes onto the grass. So, not unusual, does happen. Right, so the positions there are that in class K2, the up to 2 litre forced induction single seater class. Simon Moyes finished third with a 48.8. Number 147 here is Simon Moyes, 48.8. Number 148, Paul Haynes, 48.04, finished second, and taking the win, number 5, Richard Spedding, 45.27. Those all on their second set of runs this afternoon. Calvin Broad's effective consolation run only yielded a 52.67, which left him in 4th position. And we'll look at the over 2 litre racing cars. Such a big class this weekend. I think we've seen one of that size for a very long time. And the 3, 2, 1 there is that Alex Summers. So the new champion Wallace Mingus right down in 5th position, would you believe? So Alex Summers, number 7, finishes third, 45.7. Number 10, Scott Moran, 45.27, finishes second. And the win going to 157, Sean Gould, only one completed run today, and he did it with a 44.88. And that's where we are to now. So we'll just give you quickly, before Jerry in a few minutes he's just filling out all the bits of paperwork so that we're ready for it. But the running order is going to be, and we have verified this with the timekeeping system, which the championship coordinators also use, that number 148 Paul Hames will go first, 154 Graham Wynn will go second, and then at 126 Einan Price, number 4 Dave Uren, then 125 Zach Samet, 127 Dave Warburton, then number 3 Wallace Mingus, to be followed by number 2 Will Hall, and then number 7 Alex Summers. Then we have tied on 45.27, and it's the order in which they took the runs. Scott Moran 45.27, third last, then Richard Spedding on tied on that time will be next, and finally it will be Sean Gould with that 44.88 class winning time to be our quickest qualifier. Now we have just 4 runners to finish off the day's class runs. That will be Phil Fisher, Nigel White, Kevin Johnson and Stuart Ridge, not necessarily in that order. Joe Mackel, of course, throwing the figure with Kevin Johnson having taken his run at the end of that last lap. We'll be back in a few minutes' time. Temperature has definitely dropped this afternoon. It was really quite mild this morning. And the wind blowing, I'm sure that in the next couple of weeks the leaves are going to start falling in some volumes. Wallace having a look at the spot where it went wrong for him and how he got away with that, I really do not know. The speed of reaction, I guess. Our full calendar for next year yet to be fully published, but keep your eye on the HDLCC website. It will be published in due course. I'm going to be interested to see where all the cameras are. I'm going to be having a look sometime during the week at the replay of the live stream when it's available, and have a look and see where all the cameras are. Right, so we've got course car. The manoeuvring going on. Right, car coming to the line. And it's Phil Fisher in the Malak U2 to mark 11 as our insectoid pal crawls about all over the camera again. What's the attraction? Is there infrared or something around a webcam? I guess there is. Right, Phil Fisher away from the start line. And the Malak, it's got good old 1700 cross flow under the bonnet. I'm sure. Yeah, he's going to get a red flag. Yeah. Don't know. Don't ask us. We have no idea. Going to be sent back down to the paddock. Paddock gate, squeaky gate opening. on my screen observer that Dave Uren had a big slide just before he got to where we are. So still some track a bit cold, there's still a bit of damp out there. People pushing on hard. But that was somewhere up near, somewhere between Hall and Loggerhead. So that was in his final class running qualifier. And Nigel White away from the start line now. So Nigel in the Brabham swing camp. There we are, Nigel White. Steadily along that short straight between Triangle and Keepers. Right, so Phil Fisher, very, very quick turnaround and restart in the Mallet. Really charge from him as he gets up towards Hall. There's Phil Fisher now.
Nigel White in the Brabham BT21B with the twin cam engine. Neat and tidy through the top part of the hill, on the run to the finish, and through it in 63.92. Goes into the lead.
And just the two cars in this class M.
Now into our final class. Oh no, we've got the U2 of Phil Fisher. Up into and round Museum. Phil on a charge, and 60.60 goes back ahead of Nigel White.
Here's Robin Johnson, just one last runner in the class run today, and that is for Stuart Ridge, who leaves the start line in the Pilbeam Heart. He'll be with us any moment now.
Robin Johnson in the Tiger into and out of Museum. Robin over the finish, 59.73.
Ridge disappears from sight out of Keepers and along through the straight.
And Stuart Ridge in the Pilbeam MP53. Pushed down to third place in Class N. All to do this run. But Stuart charges to the finish, goes back into the lead with a 51.75.
So Stuart, our last class runner of the year at Loton. Not many events left this season now. The big Anglo-American extravaganza at Prescott next weekend. We were visited here about 25 minutes ago by Chris Rogers from Prescott, who's come to have a look at the commentary box here. So they're hoping to replace the elderly gentleman up on the side of the hill at Prescott over the winter. Should be nice. Served them well, but the time's come for it to be replaced. Chris came to have a look at this one, which, although a bit little maybe smaller than you'd like it to be, is nice and robust. I'll tell you what we need to, Steve, I'll report it. The cables, the safety cables on this commentary box at Museum has a couple of cables over the top of it to hold it down in the worst gales, because it blows up there. I've been up there in autumn this time of year, and you think the old box used to rock about on its mount. Well, the one cable is severed and is no longer taut, so that needs looking at before the depths of winter. Otherwise, it'll end up somewhere in Wales. So, if you want to turn to your programme on the page to turn to if you are interested.
It's on page 32.
Page 32 of your programme. You can fill in the runners in our final run-off of the year, round 34. And I think Jerry's going to give them to you with the qualification times.
Yes, I can do that. There is a space for qualification times, but if you leave enough room writing the name in, you should be able to squeeze it in. So first to go. Once again, incidentally, no double-driven cars, so it'll be all 12, one after the other. First to run, 148, Paul Hames, qualified on 48.04. And it's 154, Graham Wynne, 47.20, 126, Inan Price, 46.95, number 4, Dave Uren, 46.80, 125, Zach Zammit, 46.77, 127, Dave Warburton, 46.42, number 3, Wallace Mineeff, 46.33, number 2, Will Hall, 46.08, number 7, Alex Summers, 45.70, number 10, Scott Moran, 45.27. Then number 5, Richard Spedding, qualifying on the same time, 45.27. And finally, last to run, top qualifier number 157, Sean Gould, 44.88. Back to Eddie.
Thanks, Jerry, and here are our good friends from Rybrook on the hill with a display of fabulous BMWs and one Mini, of course. In fact, 2 Minis. We've got both of the Minis on the hill, showing their extra bright daytime running light. So BMW i8, the 8 Series, convertible, the brand new 2 Series, which should be a massive volume seller for BMW, the ever popular Minis built at the BMW owned plant at Coley on the site of the old Morris plant at Oxford. And of course Simon Moyes is one of the sea grateful to our good friends from Rybrook for supporting us this weekend, loaning us a Mini John Cooper Works course car and displaying their other products, and we're so pleased to see them. We look forward to continuing this relationship into the future, and we would love to see them back here at any time they care to visit. A message coming in over the ether. I can't possibly tell you what that one's about. So we'll be kicking off with our run-off in not too many minutes. The Rybrook cars will turn around at the top of the hill into the finish paddock and come back down before our run-off. So this constitutes a bit of a buffer class for us, gives the top 12 competitors a chance to draw breath, get the cars ready, adjust the tyre pressures, and you will always find the centre lock wheels, they always pull the R-pin out and double check the torque before putting the R-pin back. And if you spend any time in the paddock, you'll see that routine take place. Usually somebody walking around with a big torque wrench in their hands. Be back with you in just a few minutes. We'll
kicking off the runoff, we've got Paul Haynes, who didn't make the cut for the first runoff, but he got in second time up with the turbocharged GR59 with Suzuki GSXR power. Graham Wynne, next up, made the cut both times today. Iron Price in there again. Dave Uren, despite a slide in the qualifying run, got in, or the second time of asking, which he really needs to do to make sure that we couldn't be caught by Richard Spedding, who's lurking just behind him. He's currently on, Richard's currently on 188 points, but he's now dropping 4 points, although he qualified second equal with Roger Moran, and Dave is on 195, so he's virtually got to not score, and Richard's got to win it. It's almost come down to that, but nonetheless it's still a very faint chance. Zach Zammit in again after qualifying second in the wet this morning, in at number 8 this time. Dave Warburton's in again. Wallace Ming is, well, lucky to make the cut for the runoff after a huge moment locking up at Triangle, where we both thought he was going to join us in the commentary box, but he managed to keep it together and do a time good enough to qualify in 6th place. And Will Hall in again. Alex Summers, of course, Mr. Consistency, qualifying 4th. And Scott Moran and Richard Spedding, as we said, both qualifying second equal on the same time, 45.27. And then finally, top qualifier, the man who's really produced some tremendous results this season with the brand new car at the beginning of the year, Sean Gould, with the Judd V8 powered 4 litre GR59J. Got a new hill record at Prescott a few weeks back. Took a double win at Doon back in June. He's had some good results with the car. Also took a win at Wisdom Park this year. So he's recovered from that off in qualifying this morning to qualify top this afternoon. So we're all set for a great run-off for the final round of the year.
Well, the hill's just about ready, Jerry. So people around the world I know are watching us, so listen in and keep watching. Enjoy this final run-off of 2019. And I know that we've got people they are all around the world and Guernsey. So, as I keep getting messages. The messages have been coming in all day, and please stop boring us, they generally say to me, but there we are. But yeah, they're even as far away on the outer planets of Guernsey watching us, because there's no motorsport on there today. Well, there's no real motorsport on anywhere, is there? F1 doesn't count anymore. And that's just when was that? Earlier in the day, Russia, somewhere or other.
You go to Russia. Yes, it's Russia.
Yeah, who's remotely interested in that? Oh, World Superbike, yeah, that's proper motorsport, isn't it? Two wheel. That's where the racing is. Wow. Yes, MotoGP, what racing they get. But we're here, and season draws for closed. Prescott next weekend, as I said earlier, too, for the just to please Chris Rogers to give a mention to them, because they've got their British and American Classic meeting, which is always great fun, and supports a number of charities. And the weekend after, the HSA are at Kerbera. As Jerry told you, the double lap course on the Saturday, and the now very popular, I don't think anybody does the single lapper anymore. It's either the double lapper or the figure of 8, which has proved enormously popular since it was launched. So I think this is the 4th season of it. So we'll be there, and then really all you've got is it's rallying then, isn't it? And there is this club, of course, runs the Ken Wharton Memorial the World's Only International Auto Test, which is the week after that at Chateau Impney in the car park on the Saturday. Right, Paul Hames is on the line. Paul qualified
12th on the 48.04.
There we go. Jerry, if I then call the the split for you at Triangle.
Yes, that's usually
What
a
you would like,
significant
isn't
one.
it? Yeah.
So Paul Haynes leads the line. We'd be interested to hear the launch time, perhaps, Eddie, if you've got that.
2.16 launch from Paul Haynes.
So 2 seconds, 1 G of acceleration. Anything under 2 seconds is pretty good.
Here's Paul now, and his Triangle track is 19 seconds precisely. Disappears out of sight, so he's going to pick him up in 5 or 6 seconds time when he gets to the top of Cedar.
So he's through the peak now, heading
Paul
up
Haynes arrows up into and out of fallow, popping and banging on the exit into Museum already. Qualified on a 48.04. Paul Haynes 47.09.
That's the marker for everybody.
good time. Second inside his qualifying time.
That's always got to be good.
And now it's Graham Wynne. We're waiting for the first of the two GR59Js to come to the line. Both, of course, got in this time. Graham Wynne in, if you like, the customer car, and Sean Gould qualifying the works car top. You can hear it before we can see it. Just looking on our screen now for the cast of nose interview. Graham Wynne, of course, co-sponsor of the British Championship and the Leaders Championship through the Wynne Development Company, and also the Midland Championship Top 10 Challenge. He's on the line now, just being lined up by the marshals. Qualified 11th on 47.20.
Prepares himself, pulling the gloves as hard onto his fingers and hands as he can for security. Revs rise, and he's away. Oh, and he bogged a little bit, so that's 2.28 away from the start line to the 64.
So Haynes 19 seconds to the split, waiting for Graham Wynne to come into view. Here he is now around Fletcher's.
And his triangle split is 18.9. 10 quicker than Paul Haynes.
Graham Wynne up into Fallow. Steady run through Fallow, now into Museum. No problems at all for Graham. Charges over the hill and through the finish, 47.69.
So that's
quite a bit slower.
Second place for Graham Wynne.
There we got some red flags out here. I didn't quite see what caused that. Something on the track. Our view doesn't quite. There's a piece. That a piece of car? Oh no! Oh, I know what's happened here. He's got a penalty. He's pulled out one of the floppy bollards. We couldn't see that from here because of the one brand.
We did hear some reaction from the crowd, but we couldn't see anything.
Yeah, they're 25 feet behind us.
Yes,
they've got a better view from up there.
So he's got a penalty shown on the...
the 1 second penalty.
1 second penalty, right. So that's going to mean his time is actually...
So bollard back in place.
So we understand then that is effectively going to be 48.69 for Graham Wynne.
Right, car coming to the start line.
So that's going to be Island Price who qualified 10th on the 46.95 in the 4th TA. Bigger engine this year, halfway through the season at Wickham Park. Used to run it with an 1100, it's now a 1600 Suzuki. He's away from the line.
1.86 for the 64, that's a quick one.
Yes, sub 2 seconds, quickest one yet by some margin.
And the triangle split is coming up, and it's 17.96, quickest of the three in this run-off. He's out of deepers and away on Cedar Straight.
Iron Price up into fallow, not quite as spectacular as earlier, and now bobbles his way through Museum over the finish, 46.14.
Puts him into the lead.
Into the lead.
Next runner is going to be Dave Uren. We're told that he had a big slide, as I say, out of sight, which we couldn't see, which the cameras did pick up. That's somewhere around loggerhead. So fairly fortunate to get away with that one, as was Wallace Mingus. David's on the start line.
Qualified 9th from a 46.80, despite the slide.
Start marshal stands back, having indicated the green light here. And Dave Uren is away, 2.12. Maybe, well, not the slowest of the 0 to 64s, but
the second quickest.
Yeah. I think some of the other guys are going to want to show a little better than that.
And we're looking for perhaps an 18 seconds split.
18.31, Jerry. Second fastest at that split. Disappears from sight up Cedar Straight. And he'll be with Steve about now.
Dave Uren appears heading into fallow. Neat and tidy through fallow up into Museum. Dave carrying quite a bit of speed onto the straight, over the crest of the hill, through the finish, 46.21. Goes second.
Next, Zach Zammit. Maltese Rocket. He's used to flying at 500 miles an hour in jet airliners, isn't he?
Probably doesn't seem quite so fast. So.
No, I don't think so when you're up there. 35,000 feet. Here's Zach Zammit. 2.01 away from the start. Quickest in this run-off. Second quickest in the run-off. Down across. And the split of the triangle, Zach Zammit, 18.76. Third quickest at that point. Disappears from view, he's on Feeder. Steve will pick him up now.
Zach Zammit spins, heads into fallow backwards, comes to a halt at the apex.
Oh well, there we go.
That's got to be what we would call a flymo moment. Perfectly okay, sitting in the car waiting for the marshals to get to him. And Zach getting out of the car.
Nice spin at fallow for Zach. Mille point.
Garnett's car has been moved
Yeah, the
into
rear
the
wing
slot.
seems to be hanging back a little bit, so maybe there's a broken rear wing support. So that helmet off now.
Dave Warburton is going to be waiting. He's not gone to the line yet, but he qualified 7th on a 46.42.
So there's going to be a little bit of a delay while they sort the car out.
Dave didn't in fact score any points in the first run-off, finished 11th. But
There's some part of the floor been damaged, maybe, that's caused the problem going across the grass, so there'll be a delay while the car is sorted out, and then we'll get back underway.
So the hill falls quiet for a few minutes.
and Dave Warden waiting back from the line. At 10th British Championship position in the bag. Who qualified an unaccustomed 6th place after that moment of triangle. Then it's going to be Will Hall. Championship 2nd place man Alex Summers. Then Scott Moran and Richard Spedding, who tied in qualifying, 2nd fastest. And finally Sean Gould, set the overall qualifying pace with a 44.88, which so far remains the fastest time that we've seen here today at Loton Park.
At the moment, we've got joint second best times of the day, haven't we, Jerry? 45.27 for Richard Spedding and Scott Moran. May change by the end of this run-off, of course.
Yes, Alex Summers also in the 45-second bracket, but Sean Gould is the only 44 that we've seen.
Although the Loton calendar for next season yet to be released, I'm assured that you can expect to see us back here, if not before, definitely at Easter for 2 one-day National B meetings. And possibly before that there will be a members' practice Saturday and a one-day pre-licence meeting on the Sunday 2 weeks before then. That's about the best we know at this stage. We can pencil in some of the other dates because they're, if you like, traditional dates. July meeting comes forward by a week to its old position on the second weekend in July, and the Chateau Impney moving to the following weekend. The Goodwood Festival of Speed have decided to run on that second weekend in July. And of course the whole world takes second place to those guys. It all cascades down from the Formula One, doesn't it, the British Grand Prix? Everything cascades downhill from whenever they choose or get told they're going to run by Liberty Media. Right, here's Zach Samet now, coasting back down. Yeah, the rear wing bracket. A little bit bent. But that's the hill. A bit of a disappointment for Zach on his last run of the season, but you can be sure that very, very quickly Bill Chaplin will be able to fix that for Zach, and Zach will be flying home, if not tonight, sometime early tomorrow. Regular flights to Malta out of Birmingham International, of course.
So Marshall's preparing on the start line now for Dave Warburton.
I think Air Malta fly from Heathrow, I forget that. Right, expect to see Dave Warburton quite quickly. Marshall's on the start line staring down towards the paddock and expecting to see the Carbon Tub Gould Suzuki draw into sight in front of us. I'm told there is motorsport on Guernsey today. It's what they laughingly call the autocross at Chouet, which is actually banger sand racing. It's very exciting, actually. And guess what? It's free. We love free, don't we, Jerry?
Yes, most things are in the Channel Islands, I think, aren't they?
apart from the health service.
Oh, yeah. Most motorsport.
Yeah, they can't charge for it. So can't even charge for programmes. Sandash yesterday was a £10 fee, but voluntary. If you wanted to sit on the roof of Vista's Cafe and drink their coffee, you could do that.
Oh, yeah. Well, the same in Northern Ireland, of course, where they also have hill climbs on public roads.
They've got lots of hill climbs, haven't they?
Oh, yeah.
We should have covered this in the Jack, because you've been to quite a few. So it's not competitive. I know you visited the sites of them. Right, here's Wallace. Oh, it's Wallace Mineeff.
No sign of Dave Warburton.
So no David Warburton. You bear in mind they got to run in order. So that'll be Dave Warby, nil point, and a non-start. So Graham Wynn, despite the penalty, is likely to score a point.
Yes, because
they have to run in order.
Run. So Wallace Mineeff is away from the line.
1.91, Jerry.
That's a good start. Certainly took a surprise.
This bodes well. We can keep the car under control here. And here he comes now, and I'll give you the triangle split of 17.68, the first sub 18 seconds of this run-off.
Really pushing on past this time on its way down to triangle.
Should be with Steve.
And Wallace Mineeff arrives at Fallow, slithers through the corner, already up into Museum, popping and banging on overrun, charging through the corner, over the crest, through the finish, 44.05.
Woof. And into the lead.
With a new fastest time of the day.
Yeah. There we go, look at that.
Oh, can he hang on to that to end his champion year in style? Well, there are 5 drivers who will try and make sure he doesn't.
Handy thing to have. Best time of the day screen. This timekeeper kindly gave us a few years ago. Here's Will Hall coming to the start line now. So 2 non-scores in Zach Zammit and Dave Warburton. So we've got a did not finish and a did not start. Wonder what's gone wrong there. And the red rise on Will Hall start. Oh, 1.88 away from the start. Nearly as quick as Iron Price's sensational 186. And he'll be with us very, very quickly indeed. Here he comes now.
Oh, Wallace, 17.68 the split rock and will do.
17.76, nearly as quick. Can he make some more time up on the hill?
Will Hall bursts into view, locks up, heavy braking into the corner. Back end slithers round, up into museum already. Will Hall on a charge, over the crest and through the finish, 44.73.
Second fastest for Will Hall. And
that is second fastest time of the day. Quicker than Sean Gould's qualifying time.
Oh, this is getting interesting now. What with Sean Gould's previous best time of the day going to be our final runner in a couple of cars' time. And next up's going to be Scott Moran.
It's going to be Alex Summers.
Sorry, Alex Summers.
With somewhat less power than the remaining runners. But nonetheless, it's going to be quick, you can be sure of that.
And it'll be Scott Moran, Richard Spedding and finally Sean Gould.
So we can hear that particular Cosworth V6 engine note for the last time on the British Hills, because of course he's getting the XD for next season. Smaller capacity version, 2.65, same as the same size as the
running
car.
24 fuel injectors, 3 per cylinder.
Yes.
1.93 away from the start line, Alex Summers, where the slight lack of power shows up.
So what are we going to get on the split? Will it be a 17?
Oh, he's pushed around Petrocello. 18.09.
Almost.
Nearly there. Still third quickest at that point.
Alex Summers darts into fallow. In the twinkling of an eye, he's into and out of museum, charges over the crest of the hill, sweeps through the finish, 44.88, goes third.
And of course, same time as Sean Gould's qualifier for this run-off. It's looking as if Graham wins penalty isn't going to make any difference, because there, as Jody points out, because there are 2 non-scorers behind him. Right, now Scott Moran, no fuss away from the start, 1.97. Just always minimal fuss from the Morans when they're racing. No flapping around, it's always just calm in their pit area. And here's Scott Moran now, 17.83. Fourth sub 18 second of the afternoon in this run-off. Just to the 9 and prime.
Scott Moran heading into fallow. Up into museum already. Deceptively quick. Over the crest of the hill. Through the finish. 43.94.
Into the lead. And best time of the day. And something to aim at for Richard Spedding and Sean Gould, isn't it? This is good. We love it. still life in the 6 times champion, you know. And his dad is standing with Tom New and watching on over the fence, looking very closely at the timing display on the end of the hook. We're getting a thumbs up from the guys. Hope you're enjoying it. Roger, as calm as ever. Yeah, always so.
Who's the run then? It's Richard Spedding.
2.09. Actually, yeah, not that quick compared to some of the others. So I'm sure we'll hope for better than that. But we'll see what his time is down here. That triangle, and it's 17.86. That's a quick one.
Almost the same as Moran, with whom he tied in qualifying. 43.94 to beat.
Well, Richard Spedding charging up into fallow. Takes a big cut. There's a bit of a wobble on the exit. Up into Museum. Through Museum Bend. Charging over the top of the hill. Through the finish. 44.38.
Yeah, puts him third place. And rewards him with third fastest time of the day so far. Oh, it's tumbling all the time, isn't it? So now just Sean Gould to run. Variable, but great season in this car. Remember, it hadn't turned a wheel in competition until the first round here at Easter.
The final run of the British Hillclimb Championship year.
He's had his highs and lows. He crashed out at Barben Manor.
Got a new hill record at Prescott.
Yeah.
A double win at Doon.
He does like Doon, of course. He's done it before there.
Yes,
and Scotland as well. His first ever round that he won many years ago, 25 years ago, was at Fintray, which is Fintray.
Yes,
is next to Aberdeen Airport.
In the original Gould
84 Duke.
He's away from
1.88 away from the start.
This is a determined Sean Gould, you can be sure of that. Best split, 2 triangles so far is 17.68 from Wallace Minnie.
17.47. He's on.
Can he do it? Time to beat them. 43.94 from Scott Moran.
Sean Gould heading into fallow. Up into Museum. Through Museum. Power on. Charges through the finish. 43.27. A new hill record.
Wow. What a way to end the year. What a way.
Tremendous. He's going to be very pleased with that. Well, it was his avowed intention to have a go at winning the championship next year, and who can say that he won't after a performance like that to end
He might need to aim for a touch more consistency at other places, but well, that's the way to do it. So all of a sudden, from holding no hill records to holding 2 in a very, very short while indeed. Marvellous. So the positions are as follows. The winner, Sean Gould, 43.27, and best time of the day. Second place, 6 times champ, Scott Moran, 43.94. Third place, Wallace Mingus, 44.05. Fourth place, Richard Spedding, 44.38. Fifth place, Will Hall, 44.73. Sixth, number 7, Alex Summers, 44.88. Seventh, number 126, Einan Price, 46.14. Eighth place, number 4, Dave Uren, 46.21. Ninth, 148, Paul Hames, 47.09. And 10th place, Graham Wynne, and if we've read the penalties correct, that's 48.69. And out of the points and failing to finish, Zach Zammit and Dave Warburton did not start. The marshals packing the Marshal's posts away for the winter, and we'll be going into shutdown now. British Championship will be back next spring. First of those dates to be confirmed sometime over the winter, and we wish we could give them to you
right,
now,
well,
but we can't.
I'm going to sign off now, Eddie. I'll see you down in the paddock.
Yeah, so
hope everybody's enjoyed the day here. It's been absolutely fantastic with the new hill record.
Cheers, Steve.
So I'm going to sign off now, and I'll see you all next year.
Yeah, we're going to conduct a award ceremony in about 20 minutes to 25 minutes time at the next to the bar up behind the commentary box. So you've got the bar and the level area and the seating and little hostility suite, and we'll be outside there. And I don't know who's going to give the awards, but that's where we will be. We look forward to seeing you there, and if we don't see you there, we'll see you back here next year. Thank you very much, everybody, and to our marshals, thank you for your assistance this weekend. There's been loads of you. You've been great. None better. And yeah, see some of you at Prescott next week and some of you at Kerber in a couple of weeks' time. Bye for now, folks. Bye-bye.